Hi friends, welcome back to Sarah's Next Chapter. My name is Sarah and today we are going to be doing the mid-year reading tag. So grab yourself a cup of tea, coffee, glass of water and let's get into it. I really need some water today. I was out last night with my best friend for her birthday and I'm feeling a little bit hungover. We had some amazing cocktails at a place called The Alchemist in Glasgow. It was really good. It was really good. Feeling a little rough today, so bear with me. Anyway, I just thought we'd do this little tag. I've seen a couple of booktubers do it and I just thought it'd be a little fun, easy video that I can film in my delicate state. So, before we get into the tag, I thought I'd give you some stats if you're interested. So, I've read 14 books so far this year, which is a little bit below what I was anticipating because I set myself the goal of reading 40 books this year. So obviously I'm a little off. I should really be at about 20 at this point, but I'm not. And that's okay. Like 40 books was quite ambitious for me. I typically read about 30 to 35 books a year. I'm not a fast reader. I don't have dozens and dozens of time to dedicate to reading. So yeah, and I really don't like skim read or anything like that. I like to like savour my books. So 40 was ambitious. We'll see. We'll see if we get there by the end of the year. Who knows? But we've read 14 books so far. The average rating has been 4 stars, which is pretty good. And the total page count has been 5,320. So I have read some bigger books this year as well, which I think is why I haven't read as many. My most read author so far is Stephen King. I've read 2 books by him this year. So yeah, those are some stats. Now let's get into the questions. So the first question is the best book you've read in 2026 so far. And for me, that is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. So this is over 700 pages long, which is probably, again, why my book count is quite low, because this did take up quite a bit of my time when I was reading it. I half read it, half listened to it on audiobook, which I highly, highly recommend. I really enjoyed the audio experience of this book. I just really loved this book. I just thought it was really captivating. It really pulled you into the narrative. It was really immersive. I thought the concept was really interesting. If you don't know, it's about a guy that finds a portal and he can travel back in time, but for some reason it sends him back to 1958 specifically. So he sets out on like this quest to try and stop the Kennedy assassination, and hopefully that'll impact America positively. So that's kind of the basic plot. Obviously it's like a sci-fi book, which is a little bit different for Stephen King. I mean, he does write sci-fi, but it's more like horror sci-fi, whereas this I wouldn't classify as a horror book at all. But I really, really enjoyed it, so I definitely think that's my favourite book of the year so far. Question is the worst book you've read so far in 2026. So I don't really like this phrasing because I wouldn't say this is like, I don't know, the worst book just sounds like really harsh, but it was definitely the book that I enjoyed the least so far, and that was Aphrodite by Phoenicia Rogerson. Phoenicia? I always doubt myself on this name. Phoenicia Rogerson. This book just wasn't for me. This is the second book I've read by Phoenicia Rogerson, and I think what I've gained from reading her books is that her writing style is just not for me. It's too modern, it's too tongue-in-cheek for my taste in like Greek mythology retellings, and I just didn't really enjoy it. So the next 2 questions don't really apply to me because I don't read series like ever, hardly ever. So the next 2 questions I'll include here in case you do want to do this tag. Question 3 is Question 3 is best sequel you've read in 2026, and question 4 is worst sequel you've read in 2026. But I've not read any sequels, so I can't really participate in that. Question number 5 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to, and that is Aphrodite in Pieces by Lauren J.A. Baer. So I read Mother of Rome by this author last year, I think, and was really impressed by it. And this is obviously about Aphrodite, and I'm really fascinated by Aphrodite. I think she's, I don't know, there's something interesting about her. She's the goddess of love in Greek mythology, and I feel like she's really getting a moment right now. The book I'm reading right now is This Immortal Heart by Jennifer Saint, and that is an Aphrodite and Ares love story, romance book. So I don't know, I just feel like Aphrodite's having a bit of a moment now, which I'm totally here for. But yeah, I'm really excited to read that book. Question number 6. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. For me, that is Sticks by Nikita Gill. I'm going to be cheeky and add on another one, which is Mestra by Madeline Miller. That's just a short story, so I feel like that's just a little like add on, like cherry on top. But Sticks by Nikita Gill, I'm really excited for. I read Hecate by Nikita Gill last year, and that book was completely written in verse, which I'd never read anything like that before, and I really, really enjoyed it. Also, the front covers of both these books are absolutely stunning, so I cannot wait to add Sticks to my collection. Question number 7 is biggest surprise of the year. I would say for me that was The Bog Wife by Kay Cronister. Read that right at the start of the year, and I was kind of just looking for something a little bit spooky, but it honestly was much more than that. It's interesting, I've seen a lot of not great reviews of The Bog Wife on like Fable or Storygraph or whatever. And like some of the criticism I kind of get, but I don't know, it just really worked for me. Like I just really liked the sort of gothic horror elements. I really like the family dynamic in this book. Yeah, maybe it's missold a little bit as a horror book when I wouldn't really say there was like a ton of horror in it, to be honest, but I don't know, it really worked for me. I really, really enjoyed reading it, and I still think about it, so yeah. Question number, let's say 8 is your favourite new author, or like new to you author. So I don't, this might be a little bit of a cheat, but I'm going to say Kristen Hanna, because so she's obviously not a new author, she's got loads and loads and loads of books out, and she's not technically new to me, but she is like a new favourite author to me, if that makes sense. So I've said this a couple of times now, but I read The Great Alone last year, and loads of people told me to read that, but I just found it far too bleak for my tastes. But everyone had kind of said like you should persist with Kristen Hanna, maybe that book just wasn't for you, but she's like a really good writer, which I could tell from that book. So I thought, okay, I had The Four Winds on my shelf, I've had it on my shelf for ages, and I finally read that last month, and it really did blow me away. Like, oh my god, it sounded like I was making a bad pun. I did not mean that. The Four Winds really blew me away. That's so funny. I could not have made that pun if I tried. Like, I would not have thought of that naturally. That's really funny. Gosh, I'm not going to be able to finish this seriously now. I really enjoyed this book. Yeah, I absolutely devoured it. I found all the characters so interesting, it had so much depth, and even though it was sad and quite gritty, there was a lot of hope and resilience in this book. So I think Kristen Hanna is going to be a new favourite author to me. I've got The Nightingale downstairs, which I need to read. So yeah, I can see Kristen Hanna becoming like a sort of go-to author for me. Question number 9 is a bit tricky for me because I don't read a ton of romantasy, but that is newest fictional crush. I don't really have one, so I'm going to amend this question for me, and I'm going to amend it to like spiciest book. Yeah, I'm just going to say like spiciest book. I think I'll just say that. And that for me this year has been The Palace of Eros by Caro de Robertis. This was very, very spicy. A queer retelling of the myth of Eros and Psyche. And I wouldn't say I have a crush on anyone in this book per se, but it was definitely spicy and I definitely enjoyed it. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry, and that is The Gloaming by Kirsty Logan. Oh my gosh, I was sobbing at the end of this book. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, so heartwarming and sad, and I really, really enjoyed this book. In fact, Kirsty Logan could be a contender for a new favourite author, because that's the second book of hers that I've read that I've just been really in awe of and really enjoyed. Next up is a book that made you happy, and that is Sweet Bitter Song by Rosie Hewlett. So this is a Greek mythology retelling of Melantho and Penelope. So it is a sapphic romance, and I really, really enjoyed this. I thought it was just absolutely lovely. I had a great time reading it. The ending made me really happy. I really like this one. Next question is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. So this is Eros by Zoe Terrakis. So this is a collection of short stories based, some of them more loosely based than others, on Greek mythology, but they're all queer short stories. And yeah, I just think this is a really unique looking book. I think it's really, really pretty. I received this as a PR package from Octopus Books. Thank you again. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. So the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I don't really like to impose like rules by myself that I need to read stuff by a certain time, to be honest. I'm looking forward to rereading Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. That is my reread choice of the year. I tend to just reread one of my favourite books per year, so I'm really looking forward to rereading that. So I guess I'll say that because that's really the only one that I have that I'm like, I'm definitely going to read this book. So yeah, that was the mid-year reading tag. Let me know what you think about my answers. If you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are. You can find me on Instagram under Sarah's Next Chapter. You can also find me on Storygraph and Fable. I love doing a buddy read, so if any of the books that I've mentioned or in previous videos that you'd be interested in buddy reading with me, then let me know. We could do that on Storygraph. Yeah, I think that's all the plugging I had to do. So as always, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave me a comment if you want. That would be really nice. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.